Okay, so today we're actually calling this part 2 of section 7.3. With our last lesson we covered these first two objectives that you see here on this slide. So we're going to focus today on goals 3 and 4. How to use a calculator to approximate values of trig functions of acute angles, and then we're going to look at some, you could look at these as word problems involving right triangles, okay, which hopefully will be a review from some things we did in Algebra 2. Okay, so the first thing I need to tell you, this part of your assignment, 29 to 46, is not going to be very challenging if you have a calculator. You just need a heads up in cases like this. Like for number 29, for example, we're supposed to find sine 28 degrees. So we need to make sure that our calculator mode is set for degrees. So if you're not sure how to change the mode, if you have the graphing calculator, TI 83 or 84, you have a mode button that you push. And you'll be able to see the appropriate, if you go down 3 lines, you'll see the option for radian and degree. Okay, does everybody see that? So that's the TI 83 or the 84 graphing calculator. You just hit the mode button. It's pretty easy. Go down 3 lines and then you just highlight whichever one you need. So since this is in degrees, number 29, we need to make sure that it's set for degrees in our calculator. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do that. So you key in, find the sine function. Put in 28, and again you need to make sure that your mode is set for degrees. And what is our answer? Adam. Oh, okay, yeah, let me go ahead and cover the other calculator. If you have the scientific, the TI 30X2S, you have a button that says DRG. It's like degrees, radians, and gradians. So that's how you change it if you have the graphing calculator. Just go to it's the very top next to the second option, and you can change it there. Okay, so Andrew, what is sine 28 degrees? Well, it's the decimal. Okay, it's actually 0.47. You round the hundredths place, 2 decimal places. It's actually 0.47. You just leave the decimal and round it to the hundredths place. Okay, now let's take a look at the number 37. This time we need to make sure, since we're given radians, notice we're given a multiple of pi, we need to change our mode to radians. So go ahead and do that if you haven't already. And you're going to press the tangent button, and you can enter this as a fraction. 5 times pi divided by 12. Close your parentheses. And let's see, Allie, what you got? 3.73 is correct. All right, so let me just write those answers down again. Number 29 was 0.47. And number 37 is 3.73. So once again, the only thing to really make yourself remember is to change the mode. That's probably the most commonly made mistake on these problems, is people forgetting to change the mode in their calculator, and they give me the wrong decimal. Okay, any questions on this block of problems? All right, let's take a look at some application problems. If you have your book, why don't you go ahead and turn to page 538 so you can look at, I didn't type out the whole problem, but I did do a rough sketch of the picture that you're given. This is page 538, and it's problem number 69. And these are some good examples of what we call application problems. Typically what that means is we're going to be looking for a missing side or a missing angle, and we're going to use the appropriate trig ratio to help us find it. Alright, so for number 69, we see that we're supposed to find the distance from A to C across the gorge. So in my triangle, of course, we're talking about this distance right here, the side AC for this leg of the triangle. So remember, we're basically looking out from the angle that we're given. We're given the measurement of angle B. So what I'm trying to do now is think about, I'm trying to find the opposite side of that angle, and I'm given the adjacent side. So give me the ratio, the trig ratio that is described as opposite over adjacent. Tangent, okay? So tangent, and then the angle measurement there is 35 degrees. Is equal to the opposite side over the adjacent side. Oh, and by the way, since we just left a problem where we changed to radians, since we're dealing now in degrees, we want to make sure we change our calculator back to degrees. So the easy way to do this, solving for x, is just to type this into your calculator. We're going to be multiplying by 100 on both sides. So we can do 100, tan, 35, and the calculator will give us that answer rounded to, let's round these also to 2 decimal places. 70.02, and don't forget what units are we in here with this problem? Well, we're describing a length of a side or a distance, so it should be 70.02 feet. And that is your answer for number 69. Any questions on that? Okay, I think I just have one more example. This is number 72. And we'll get it to a certain point, and then, oh, you're not doing 72, so we can go ahead and finish this. Okay, so once again, we have this person in a small boat. They didn't give you a picture. I think it's a good idea to take the information and make a, you know, it's got to represent a right triangle. Just take the information and see if you can make a right triangle out of what you're given. So person's in a small boat. Offshore from a vertical cliff. Here's my vertical cliff. I've identified it as 100 feet high. So we're taking this line of sight from the top of the cliff. Okay, so you could think of it as, here's the person in the boat looking at the top of the cliff. And the angle of elevation, that just means if he's on the ground looking up, angle of elevation, that would be 30 degrees. So what we want to know is how far away is the boat from the shore, or in other words, we need to find this bottom leg of this right triangle. Okay, well, once again, much like the previous problem, we're going to use the tangent ratio because we're given opposite of 30 degrees. We're trying to find this time the adjacent. So it's the same ratio, but it's going to look a little different because this time we're going to know what the numerator is, and we're going to solve for the denominator. So you can think of it this way, really. What is going to happen is we're going to multiply by x and then divide by tan 30. Can you see that? To solve for x? Well, let's just go ahead and basically what happens is these are going to switch places. So we can write it as 100 divided by tan 30. And let me just give you a heads up. Some people like to find this decimal and round it, then use that as the divisor. But it's better, more precise, if you just let the calculator do tan 30 for you. That's going to get you a more precise answer. So let me see. 57.74 feet. I'm not looking at the answer, so let me just get a show of hands. Everybody else get that? 100 divided by tan 30? 173.21. It's 100 divided by tan 30. You did. Okay. Okay, so tell me again, final answer is 173.21. Okay. Was everybody able to get that? Okay, so that is the correct answer. All right, so that's really going to be what you're going to be practicing today, using your calculator for 30 through 46, but make sure you change the mode correctly, and then these are word problems involving right triangles. And we'll check these out tomorrow.